There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonkō Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonkō Table, the table that will make their dreams come true. Yo, folks, the Yonkō Table has set sail yet again. Destination the Grand Line for our second episode for our One Piece Chronicles retrospective. In case you guys missed our first episode, we covered everything from Romance Dawn from chapter 1 all the way through Syrup Village. So we kind of put everything together into one neat little bundle. But this time, we're devoting an entire arc to one episode because this arc in particular, right after Syrup Village, is quite a meaty one. And it goes by many names. I call it Baratie. There's other interpretations. I'll let my fellow Yonkō GrandMasterHoop jump in on pronunciations. How do you say Baratie, Grandmaster?
I've always said Baratie, or I've heard Baratie, not Baratie. I don't know where you got that from.
When reading manga, you got to make up the words. I thought Hokage from Naruto was Hokage.
You are a fool.
Wow, you're dumb.
How would you? How would you know? How would you know?
They said it.
No, before the anime. Before the anime.
You're done. No, absolutely not. No, no.
Jesus.
Goodness gracious.
No, absolutely.
I think that that's one of the first things Naruto says. I'm going to be Hokage.
Before watching the anime, I only read the manga, so I didn't know how it was pronounced. And I said, "Oh yeah, Hokage." Yeah.
I mean, I see your reasoning. English is really dumb in terms of of phonics and phonemic, whatever.
That's a very specific situation.
Yes,
most people watch the anime.
Right. That was most people's introduction to Naruto in like 2007 when it dropped the dub. But whatever, man. Baratie, whatever you want to call it. It's a game change. I think it's the game changing arc in the East Blue Saga. With that's like it's the when I say that I mean it's the it kind of sets the tone for the current arc and the next arc as far as kind of a gap is established here, and we'll get into it, but it's a great arc. I think it deserves this separate podcast, one coverage to take care of it. So I'm glad we're here to talk about it. It's going to be fun.
I agree. It's a really big arc. We have Supernovas here to deep dive this with us today, and let's get into it. Baratie. What did you guys think about this arc? Because I think we mentioned it, or at least I mentioned it last week. This was my I guess that line in One Piece, at least for me, where it divided it from everything that came before it. We got some tragic backstories in here, at least because I remember reading this in the monthly Shonen Jump magazines that would come out, and they would have like stuff with One Piece, Naruto, DBZ every month. This was the first time I actually gave a chance to a story that wasn't Yu-Gi-Oh or DBZ, and in those monthly Shonen Jump stuff. Because like back in the glorious days of ignorance, if it wasn't DBZ and if it wasn't Yu-Gi-Oh, I wanted nothing to do with it. So you can imagine. You can imagine. Listen, era of ignorance. You can imagine. I'm buying these 400, 300 page Shonen Jump volumes, and I'm reading like less than a third of it. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe like 6 magazines in, I'm like, okay, I gotta read this. I gotta check in. And the first one I read was Sanji's backstory. Got hooked. And that's all she wrote. What did you guys think about this arc overall?
I just think overall it's a pretty good arc. I think, I mean, it's very early on, but like it starts giving you the One Piece kind of formula where multiple things can happen in one arc that aren't necessarily specific to the current going ons of the arc. And that just kind of sets the tone for like where we're heading with One Piece. And also this arc opens up the door to a lot of the lore, not a lot of the lore, but one good faction of the lore that my background is. That's the thing I'm referring to, as far as lore expansion. So it does, it does good at, the Hawk, right?
For our audio listeners, they can't see.
Oh yes, it's Hawkeye Mihawk giving Zoro the business after Zoro says, "Oh no, don't cut me down with the thingy, cut me down for real." He's like, "Okay," But so yeah, I think that's why this separates the arc. This arc previous, to the previous ones, Orange Town and Syrup Village and all that. This one like kind of set the tone for me. Like I was like, damn, the stakes are kind of high. Even watching, because again, my first exposure was 4Kids. It may have not been a bloody fest, but I was like, damn, the stakes are high.
Did he still cut him in 4Kids?
I mean, yes, but like
there was no
don't
blood.
see it. Yeah, and there's no blood, right?
I don't know if they replaced his blade with like a balloon sword.
Well, no, the biggest edit is that his blades don't form a cross.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And have biblical references.
Yeah, no biblical, right.
It's funny how that ages with the arcs to come. But what do you call it? This arc really is, I think it sets up a formula for One Piece to follow. And this is just something that like I think One Piece does very well, that you mentioned, that multiple things can happen in one arc. Like usually a battle has to finish and then people have to talk about it and then something happens. And I'm thinking about like other like very big series, like they don't have as many moving pieces as like this little arc had, because you had the whole thing with Sanji, then Zoro, then Luffy, and then Nami, and she's leaving, and then the crew gets split up at the end, and that's a very big One Piece trend that happens.
They love splitting up.
Yeah, and it's just very interesting because other shonen, and especially other of the big three, they aren't as intricate in this arc. Like everyone were kind of laser focused on things that were happening, and One Piece was just like, no, everything's gonna happen at the same time, and you're gonna have to deal with it.
No, I agree. I definitely liked how they kind of expanded the lore or opened people's eyes to how big the world of One Piece was. Because in previous arcs, it was very, I think Nino mentioned, it was like very laser focused. Like we're on this island, this guy is the villain, and that's all we're going to be talking about. That's all we're going to be dealing with. This is the first time we get introduced to something where Mihawk he is not the villain of this arc. He is just someone that comes in, shows his business, and dips. But it makes you question, like, wow, he's a big player in this field of One Piece. He's from the Grand Line, a destination we're trying to get to, and he's a member of the Seven Warlords, the Shichibukai. And I mean, I don't know about you, but from here, I started thinking, man, if this guy is one of them, how are the other six like? He just one-shotted the second strongest dude on the team. How are they going to survive on the Grand Line? Yeah.
By that point, we know just as far as the rankings of the Marines, and then you got the Warlords. I think by then we knew all the rankings. And I think just to see him was for me, I was like, how big does this get? How strong are they? Because then you start, and at this point too, you're because the first episode was so, it was very recent. I always think okay, compare it to Shanks, how how strong is he compared to what Shanks is, how strong do these characters really get? And then it's just as far as where the direction of the Straw Hats go, they're really solidified. I feel this really solidifies each character has really had a moment now, and now we're like attached to the I always, in my head, they're the main cast only because we started with Usopp, Nami, Zoro, and Sanji, and I'm like, okay, now we got the main cast. Anybody after is kind of like,
when you
just,
say the
I
main
feel
cast, you mean the of the Straw Hats?
The
Oh, the Straw
OGs,
Hats,
the
yeah.
OG
Okay,
five, right?
Got it.
yeah,
got it.
like these are like, we really see like the 5 that we're like very honed in on at all times, like really come into character, and then you have an idea at this point of like how each person is, and then as far as like with Sanji, and then like just like how they pick him up too. I think it's just like a great this was like one of my favorites, only because Sanji is like my favorite character out of all of them personally.
Ooh.
which there's a lot of reasons for why.
There's a lot to like about Sanji.
Yeah,
Definitely.
there's a lot of very specific things about Sanji that like I really like, but this really his like stubbornness as far as like you know, he won't allow no one to not eat, like, you know, like just like all of that comes with it. Like it's just I feel like I just really like him as a character, and this really, I guess like I said earlier, solidified like his character and him being like the last of the main, you know, Straw Hats that we really get.
I mean, since you mentioned it, do we want to talk about Sanji, the star of the show?
I mean, yeah,
How
he's
can we
definitely
not?
Yeah, he's definitely the
got to.
star. Yeah, we have to.
I
Could we
think this
say?
is- Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, could we say of the backstories of the Straw Hats? You know, his backstory is pretty dark. Now, with that said, obviously there's more to his backstory, but
Whoa,
Even-
whoa, whoa.
Yeah, I didn't wanna-
foreshadow,
Whoa.
I don't know how
foreshadow.
to expand on his
There-
backstory
there's-
without like bringing up other stuff. So
Well,
I'm like,
you know,
well,
just
well-
you can talk about, you know, just his
No, but all
trials
we
with
know-
Zeph and what happened with Zeph. That's all I'm talking about. Just the trials with Zeph. You know,
Mhm.
like you want to talk about Sanji, you got to talk about where he comes from. I don't even remember really what happened. What he stowed away, and what they got into a storm, and then him and Zeph are like about to drown. No,
Well, he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't stow away. I thought he was like an actual like
Like a chore boy.
chore boy on the ship. That was I don't know if it was a restaurant ship. I don't think it
Yeah.
was.
No, it was just a regular ship, but it
That
wasn't
had
a
a kitchen.
restaurant ship.
that
Yeah.
had a restaurant, yeah, and
Okay.
and it, yeah,
Got
and
it.
he was like
Yeah.
the he became the cook, but I
Right.
think he was a stowaway like before that, like they had like
Considering what we know before.
see, it's so hard, like
no, he
Well,
was a stowaway.
yeah.
They showed that. They showed
yeah,
that.
yeah,
They showed it at this time that he was a stowaway.
Yes, he was a stowaway, and then he's like begging to be a chef on the ship, and then Zeph attacks the ship.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
But what do you call it? He already got, like, he was like a chore boy, and like they
Yes.
I think he was like cutting potatoes or something. He was
Right.
doing something very like chore, you know. But then Zeph attacks, and then, you know, the whole thing happens, and Zeph saves his life. So
Which they definitely, it's funny, you know, we talk about the 4Kids edit, but you know, the from manga to actual, you know, anime, they had to edit out how Zeph got his leg off.
Actually, what
Those-
was their edit?
So I think in the manga, it's Zeph takes a rock and smashes
Oh,
it
right,
off.
right, yeah.
Right, and it's a really bloody, kind of gruesome scene. And that allows him to, you know, go swim and save Sanji, who's drowning. But I think in the anime, it's simply he broke free and he ate his leg so Sanji could eat all the food.
oh, right, yeah.
Yes.
but
That's why,
But
and that's
in the
where that's where like the whole Sanji won't, like, you know, he will eat anything, or like he thinks that people should eat
Right.
like whatever you cook or whatnot,
Right.
because of that. Yeah.
And in the manga too, it is Zeph still does starve himself. And all the food that they do have, he still gives to Sanji. So, you know, yeah, it still
Right.
correlates with the whole, yeah, he doesn't want anyone to starve. The value of food is like highest importance to him. So,
But wait a minute. What do you call it? Zeph ate his own leg in the manga.
So what I think in the manga, Chef Zeph used a rock to bash his foot off, and he ate it.
Yeah.
In the anime, they changed. I'm talking about like the actual Japanese anime. The Japanese anime changed that to where he didn't bash his foot off. I think he got it caught when he was rescuing Sanji.
Yeah.
Right. That was the anime change. I don't know what the 4Kids change was. I don't know if it's like he just still lost his foot in the wreck.
We don't need to know that.
Yeah,
that can be lost to time.
I guess it's
we'll
fine.
let it go. It's one of those things where I noticed, wow, that was so gruesome in the manga that even in the Japanese anime they didn't adapt that, to a T. They're like, no, we're not having this guy eat his own foot. That's brutal. Damn. But even I remember reading the manga. I read these chapters like back then, like 3 or 4 times every month whenever Shonen Jump came out. I would always look at the amount of days that would pass in between Sanji not eating food. And I would just question, like, how is he doing this? Because he had like, I think he had 5 days worth of food from what I remember in the manga, but he portioned it out to where he could survive with 20 days worth of food. But he was out on that rock, not able to fish or, eat anything else for 90 days, I think. So going from 20, so in my head, I'm just thinking, so that means on the 20th day, however long he's portioned this food out, he went 2 months easy without food. How?
You only need water.
You only need water, but
You only need water, yeah, technically, yeah.
He was a skeleton at the end. That's true.
Yeah, they were starving.
85 days, it says, 47 in the manga.
Okay. Wait, 47 in total that he was
I'm sorry, 85 in the manga, 47 in the anime.
Okay. I remember the manga was really long about it.
But I think that's just Oda being Oda. And I think that he's trying to set up the rules of this universe. Like, how, like, in Dragon Ball Z, the rules were like of power levels, and then they were very explicit, and then they broke it. But like Oda's kind of doing it covertly, because he's showing that if you have the strongest will, you're going to make it through. And I think this arc is kind of like representative of that. Zeph had a will to survive and to see his dream be realized. And Sanji had a will to survive. And then Zoro, it connects all the way back to Zoro. Zoro had the will to be the best, And even then Luffy had the will to be Don Krieg, yeah.
Don Krieg.
Let me backtrack you to what you're saying about dreams, because I think you're nailing it. Zeph's willpower too, and it's a kind of like the passage of dreams and wanting others to succeed in their dreams. Zeph really valued Sanji's life because they had the same dream, and he wanted to find the all blue, the ocean with all the fishes, and all the fishes in the world go to the all blue, wherever the all blue is. For the people who may not remember what the all blue is, they both share the same dream, and that was really Zeph's kind of triggering piece for why he's gonna save this kid, and then talking about Zoro in his plight, yes, he wants to be the best swordsman, but now he's like, I also need to be the best swordsman so I can make sure my captain gets to his dream, because my captain deserves the best, and I have to be the best for my captain as well, which is cool. Very that's a very nice little moment. Sorry, Luffy. I'm gonna be stronger.
No, that was probably I would say that's probably the best like emotional scene in the arc.
Yeah, I think it's up there for sure. Yeah,
I mean, because you could tell he's devastated. Zoro's that stoic, serious character on the crew.
Well, he he wasn't up until this point. Like, you know, he was just kind of going with the flow, and he was laughing. I'm basing it off of like what the anime is portraying as well. But like, he was laughing with Luffy. He was like, "Yeah, I love being pirates." And this is the moment that forever changes him.
He was
getting,
fine.
you know, completely wrecked by Mihawk. And you know, when it's funny because when I first started watching this, Zoro had a very clear intention to be the best swordsman. And when this guy comes up and then Zoro's like, "Oh, it's him. It's time for me to, you know."
I'm ready. He's like, I'm ready.
And I was like, this seems a little quick. Don't we have like 1,000 episodes? This is like episode 30 something. And I was like, this seems a little quick. And then I was totally right. When he got wrecked, I was like, I didn't know how that was gonna turn out. I was like, oh, I thought he was gonna put up more of a fight, but
I mean,
stopped him with the butter knife, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was high key humiliating. He didn't even use his, you know, I don't know the name of his sword, but he didn't use the big black blade. He was like, "Oh no, you don't deserve this. This for the likes of, you know, Shanks or Whitebeard, you know, all those who, you know, he does not mention that he knows them, or
but you know who he would use it on.
Right. But
would you? Because at this
not
point,
now.
we don't know.
Not now, but
we don't know now. There is, I think, in the next after Arlong Park, he visits. You know, we'll get there. Let me not get ahead. But yeah, it's like such a terrible wreckage. I know we're jumping around the points of this arc, but he breaks 2 of Zoro's swords. You know?
Oh yeah, that's right.
With I think with the knife, like.
Yeah. No. It's when, what do you call it? It's when Zoro uses his 3-sword style, the special.
Oh right.
He tries to attack him, and the blades end up shattering.
And then that's when Zoro accepts
that's
his
when
fate.
he's
Yeah.
Right. That's when Zoro's back is to him. Mihawk's gonna attack, and he's like, "No, cut me down the middle like a Subway sandwich," and then he does it.
And well, he also says, you know, and again, it's like, I like how Mihawk, I feel when you first meet him, you think he's a villain. He's really not a villain. I wouldn't call him a villain.
He's definitely not.
He's just kind of a dog of, you know, the whatever. The Royals run the 7 Warlords? Is that right? Who runs?
He's
a government.
Yeah.
So the government.
Pirate.
Okay.
No, wait a minute. He's a pirate.
Yeah, he's a pirate.
I mean,
but
he's a
runs?
pirate that's owned by the government. They
right.
I don't think
works with.
Right.
Yes.
Well, the government.
They're paying.
We know they're not controlled at all.
I mean, liberties. You know, they do some shady stuff, but also, you know what? The government sent him.
Can we mention that? Yes, he is a pirate, and they mentioned that he's a pirate, but you just see him coming up on his dinghy, like just him, no crew,
with some candles lit on it.
Ace.
Yeah,
and you're like, what is this? Who is this?
It's a raft. It's a raft with a chair.
No, I mean, I don't know how he's sailing the ocean in this, but it's really cool because the way they built up him coming in on that dinghy. Because before that, you know, we get to this this restaurant, this boat restaurant going on the ocean, and we have this pirate crew, you know, Don Krieg's pirate armada, an armada of like 50 plus ships, and it's been decimated. These people went to the Grand Line. They went ready. They were excited, ready to conquer the world. And they came back like with their tail between their legs. And they even say like, yeah, we went to the Grand Line, and this guy we ran into, he just destroyed everyone. We had to turn back. So in your head, you're thinking like, wow, who was that guy that actually did it? Bam, here he is, sailing to the restaurant.
That is some good little, like, yeah, when they're describing it, they're like, oh, I'm sure Luffy and then we'll meet them when they get to the Grand Line. Oh no, he's here. He's right outside.
I think he was following them.
He was finishing the job. He was trying to take out the Creek pirates.
And I remember they asked him, why did you do this to us? We just sailed past you. And I think he said something like, I felt like it. Right? He had no reason to
something
do
like that. Something like he just was like, yeah, because I wanted to, or something like that.
And that cues you into a little bit, like we find out more later, like about world building. Like it's so funny how Oda brings back like character moments as world building. Like when we're reading it, we're like, oh, you know, that characterizes Mihawk. And then when we look back on it, specifically like when we interact a lot more with him during Marineford, like you definitely feel like these things connect and these things exist, but that will be saved for later. I just have to remember it. But that's a really good character moment that gets turned into world building later on.
No, I agree. I mean, Mihawk's introduction, I feel like for this arc, this is probably the most memorable element into the Baratie arc. You know, just Mihawk being introduced, the introduction of the 7 warlords, and then everything else happens with Sanji. Speaking of Sanji as a character, I like how Oda implemented, you know, what his abilities are, or rather what he's good at doing, what he contributes to the crew, but also how that, you know, relates to his fighting ability, right? Because Sanji's a chef. He uses his hands to do the slicing and dicing and the cooking. So a chef's hands are his tools. What he used to fight, got to give him them feet. I don't know. I loved it. I love that idea. I thought that was so cool. In my mind, I'm always thinking of like, how is Oda gonna give Sanji like cool new moves? You know, 1,000 chapters from now. How many variations on the kick? Can you tell the difference between brulee creme and filet mignon?
Or
you're done.
Justin. And they're all French too, Kame Chris. Have you?
Yeah, I know.
Have you put that together in your French studies? That these were all French. And they're like styles of cooking too. They're not even
all
like...
of them. It's food. It's food. It's like just like different cooking styles. But I just the whole no hands always gets me every time he fights. Like you just forget, you know, as far as like why he does it, and this was a very good reminder on how I like honestly over my head over the past years of him fighting, I never really cared or noticed like him not using the hands until after like so long. And then a friend of mine was watching it with me. He was like, why doesn't he use his hands? Is he ever going to use his hands? I said, he does not use his hands. Not once.
I mean, I like to argue that he only uses his hands when he has to get on his hands to do certain kicks.
He is not throwing a jab.
I know, but you know, he's like, I don't want to get my hands dirty either. I'm like, well, now your hands are dirty, but granted, all chefs wash their hands. Well, they should wash their hands before cooking. But yes, it's definitely a fun, great concept because also too, every kind of crew has a brawler as the crew, like part of the crew,
like fighter.
Yeah,
right,
the fighter.
Right.
Yeah, Sanji is definitely the fighter, and he just so happens he only kicks. I will say, I don't know. I don't want to say it. We'll get to it when we get to it. But one of the variation of the kicks, obviously, you know, I don't want to say it. What you know the one.
I know which one you're talking about.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
The fire.
Yes.
Oh, right.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's cool. I don't get it, but it's fine.
But it's the one that when he says it, you know what he's gonna do. You're like, oh, that's the one where he does this. But
it's Diablo. It's
Diablo
Jump.
But no, filet mignon and creme brulee. I don't know the difference. He spins one and then he, I don't know, axe kicks, drops it on. I don't know. But we love Sanji. I like his uniqueness with the kicks. They look cool. But early on in One Piece, even I had that question, like, man, how many different ways can you kick? You know, I guess we'll see. But you know, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit, but like, you know, how Sanji's goal is to find the all blue. I feel like out of every person on the crew, including the future ones that we'll get to, I feel like his goal, his dream out of all the Straw Hats is probably like the least active from everyone else. Like, when was the last time you heard Sanji say, "I'm gonna find the all blue"?
Well, I'm currently watching Whole Cake. Flashbacks mention. No, flashbacks mostly mention it. But it's like,
and the thing is, he doesn't have to like say it, but like, for example, like Zoro, right? Zoro every arc doesn't say, "I want to be the world's greatest swordsman." He doesn't need to. Everything that Zoro does is in contribution to him being the greatest swordsman. One arc he learns to cut steel, the next arc, whatever, a new type of metal. So with Sanji, it's like there's really nothing there to like, I guess, remind us that he wants to find the all blue. With Chopper, he wants to be the world's greatest doctor. Everything he does is in contribution to that. Luffy, Kaizu Kuni, all that stuff. But Sanji's, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Some of their dreams you have to work towards. They are a working dream. I'm trying to think of a better word. Sanji's dream, he can only succeed, and he's not the only one. His dream is he can only find the all blue if he travels around the world. That's the best way for him to find the all blue, is to travel around the world.
So are we talking, can I talk about a little spoilers of beyond this arc for a minute, or is that not allowed in our segment today?
We need to foreshadow. We need a foreshadow.
It's more of a theory.
No, then save it. Save your theory.
Just remember, remember it.
Unless there's a direct foreshadow in this arc.
The all blue is Earth.
The all blue is the One Piece.
I mean,
no.
Here we go.
But so what do you call it? I'll just say this, that it seems that everybody's dreams on the Straw Hats right now are linked to, what do you call it, to Luffy and how his story is developing currently in the manga. I'm expecting, what do you call it, the all blue to come back and to be tied in with One Piece, with the world government, with, you know, at the end of the Grand Line.
I feel like it will at the end.
Luffy.
That's a fair statement.
What's that? It's a term like manifest destiny, or I don't know if you guys remember, like when.
I mean, I remember manifest destiny.
Yeah, like it's that. It just sounds like that. Like what they were trying to claim, like going from the East Coast to the West Coast in the States. Yeah, like I think it's one of those, like what they were describing back then to be manifest destiny. This is like what this is. Like everyone just, it's just gonna happen. Like everybody's goals align with each other, and you know, the end goal is, you know, everything is just gonna take into play, and it just like flows perfectly.
It's probably gonna pop up when you least expect it, you know.
Yeah, we're probably gonna get like a whole arc of everything, everybody's goal, like the Wizard of Oz or something. Like everybody just like be satisfied.
What was your dream?
Oh, yours was the all blue.
It's
right there.
Sanji, the all blue has been with you the whole time.
I definitely think that going into the final arc of One Piece, which I don't know for near, I don't know for far, but I'm just saying,
going into, be honest.
I think going into the final arc of One Piece, I think everyone will have either their dream or their dream is in sight. You know what I mean? Like I think so. Yeah, Oda will be very clear.
I think Oda. See, when I mentioned like the all blue was like the least active, I guess, dream compared to the other Straw Hats, it's not like I think at the end we're never gonna have Sanji find it. I feel like Oda obviously is gonna remember, oh yeah, all the Straw Hats are gonna achieve their dream. Sanji, yours was the all blue, right? Yeah, okay, let's give you a map. Here it is. There you go.
Well, I think some dreams we might not see necessarily played out in the final arc. I think some of them will be kind of a, what's that thing called? Not a prologue.
Epilogue.
Epilogue.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like the ending of One Piece.
Well, no, I mean like it'll be the ending of One Piece, and it'll be like, oh, 20 years later, oh yeah, Chopper is running, you know, a hospital, and
that would be stupid. I don't think.
No, what do you mean? We can't actually. We can only see him keep coming up.
Remember, the goal
cures.
was to find all the cures. Actually, wait, no, we're talking about Chopper.
Yeah, we need to focus on right. That's why I just
who's Chopper?
Right, who's Chopper?
Who's Chopper?
Can we mention?
You mean Sanji chopping the ingredients? Go ahead.
I like in the beginning of this arc, like we said, multiple things can happen in this arc. So we already, you know, talked about Mihawk. Well, I'm sure we're gonna get back to Krieg. Just one thing that happened before, you know, the big Krieg fight started was Johnny and Yusaku, Zoro's old pirate hunting buddies, who, you know, they're just kind of they're allies for sure, but you know, they were kind of throwaway when you
they
first
only appeared in this arc, right?
They appear in this and Arlong Park, and I don't think we've seen them since.
That's right.
But you know, they're pirate hunters, and they have all these wanted posters, and you know, Nami, who all we know is, oh, Nami likes money, Nami likes stealing, but she picks
Zoro doesn't trust her. He never trusted her.
He didn't, and Nami picks up this poster, and she's kind of clenches her fist and then just shrugs it off.
I loved it.
Right.
Oh, man.
It was good.
I mean, it goes back to the whole moving pieces thing that you mentioned. Like, there's so much chaos in this arc, but it's well written. Like, we know there's a big bad in this arc, but you have Nami stealing the merry-go. How dare you? We just got it the previous arc, and she goes off and leaves the crew behind. Luffy, Zoro are in disarray, saying, "Oh, what do? We gotta get
Nami's stealing the ship."
So they have they have the Johnny and Yusaku going with Usopp, right? It was only Usopp.
Well, it's no, it's Usopp. Johnny, Yusaku, Usopp. No, I'm sorry. It's only one of them, Usopp and Zoro, and then
Usopp and Zoro.
Yes, and then the other one went with Sanji.
Oh, that's right. He got cut. Okay, that's right.
Right. So they definitely had to take Zoro immediately.
Right.
To go get like a doctor. And then one of them stayed back with Sanji and Luffy.
Got it.
Isn't that crazy that they split up and then they meet back up like a couple chapters later? Like, and then Oda in the future will be like, imagine this, but like years pass in real time.
No,
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yes, in our time, yeah. Not their time, but yeah, for us, we went like
for them it's like
without seeing some of them.
I remember very
long.
Recently.
Damn it! I don't want to talk. I was about to say however long Dressrosa was.
You're fine. But right, Usopp, Johnny, Yusaku, Zoro all go off to capture Nami or get the ship back at the very least. And this arc, you know, Baratie, it actually kicks off with Gin, right? Is that how you say his name? Gin?
Mm-hmm.
Jin?
Yeah.
Okay. Jin. I always say Jin. I don't know.
Jin. Okay.
Like the alcohol.
He shows up starving. I think he had someone hostage too when he showed up on the ship. Sanji didn't care. Homie was hungry. And he's like, hey, I'm not turning away someone that's starving. And that really touched Gid. And it's something where obviously it plays a major role later on in the arc, but it really shows you Sanji's character. I mean, all these people that are joining the crew, that's what I like about them. They have character. And you get an idea for his morals, and it's great. But then Don Krieg shows up. I feel a lot of people forget about Don Krieg. I mean, I don't blame them, but I remember back then I thought Don Krieg was the shit. I thought he was the most powerful character. One of the powerful. Obviously, Mihawk destroyed him, but you know, beside Mihawk, I was thinking like, oh yeah, Mihawk's like endgame type of stuff. But Don Krieg, pirate armada, 50 plus ships, an arsenal of weaponry at his command. Come on. That's got to be Grand Line material, apparently.
Oh,
not.
I'm gonna say
No, it wasn't.
It was.
right.
well, that's the whole point, was that in the East Blue, Don Krieg was a big deal, you know, and then
Big fish, little pond.
correct, because Mihawk shows up and he's quivering at his knees.
Mihawk's
know.
like, this is not enough to film me.
Right.
I don't.
He
But
chased them. He chased them out of the Grand
He
Line.
chased
man.
them patiently.
Very
Imagine if you were
patiently.
running for your life. Imagine if you were.
It's like
running
those
for your
scary
life
movies.
and
The,
then-
Oh,
Michael
it's-
Myers just walking.
No, it's that movie you were talking about. It Follows. It just walks, and it eventually tries to
Right.
catch up.
Yeah,
That's
Mihawk.
what it is. But
He's very calmly trying to get you, but he's always right behind you, and you're
Yes.
sprinting. That's the.
But it was just really good storytelling, because here you have, Mihawk shows up and he's clearly very strong, but then he leaves, and then now Don Krieg is still here, and he's wrecking everybody's shit, and it's like, okay, well, Luffy, if you don't beat this guy, what does that say about you and your journey? You gotta beat this guy. Like this guy, look at Mihawk. If you don't beat this guy, there's no way in hell you could beat some guy like Hawkeye Mihawk, So it set like a goal, I guess, kind of for
It was
Luffy,
the benchmark.
Yeah, the
Like-
benchmark. You're right. That's a good way to put it. Because in the previous arcs, there was nobody to compare with. It's not like they met Buggy and then they also met like Crocodile. They met Buggy by himself. God, I said Crocodile.
Who
you see what I'm saying?
A crocodile?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. A freaking
The one that
crocodile.
bit Shanks' arm off?
That one.
Okay.
That one.
Got it.
So it sets the benchmark for where we really need to reach, and I guess it sets the precedence too, that just because Luffy and crew beat one dude, there is always about to be someone stronger. And then you kind of have to put in the back of your head too, where do these people match up with Mihawk?
The crew
Yeah.
or just
No, like the
everyone else in
people
world?
they beat, like the enemies they
Okay.
encounter. It's like
Got it. Yeah.
the whole time in your back of your head, you're like, how does this match up with Mihawk? How does this match up with this person that we know is looming in the back, just waiting?
And I'm gonna say something a little controversial.
Here we go.
I don't want anyone to comment on it because it might give away too much. But I don't think up until this point that we are in the manga that there has been another Shichibukai that has been stronger than Mihawk. And I think that he set the standard, and it's kind of been like, is anyone matching up to Mihawk? I don't think so. So
I would agree with that. Yeah.
It's also hard to tell how strong Mihawk is.
Yeah, because
Like we don't know where he scales exactly.
right. We know he's powerful, but I mean, like I won't mention names yet, but we clearly have seen some of the other warlords and what their abilities are, and some of them I could believe. Oh yeah, I think Mihawk could take this one. But then there's other questionable ones that we see way later in the story, and I'm like, I don't know. I need to see what Mihawk can do. He's got a sword. I'm sure he can do some creative things with it.
It's like trying to compare him with like any other character we've met that also uses swords.
I think
in comparison to how strong they are. And I think we may get an idea, but that's like the best comparison there is, and I don't know. I don't think he's that strong. I don't know.
I like
Warlords
to say
don't seem. It doesn't seem like it took a lot to be a warlord.
that's fair. I mean,
Right.
I'm not actually. Let me stop.
We'll get there. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll get there.
There's some
at this
questionable
point-
characters.
yeah,
At
this point, the warlords are this mythical being.
Yes.
It's like they're at
You know
the
what
top.
I mean?
They're at the top.
Yeah,
They are
No
at
one
the top.
competes with them.
Yeah,
Right.
and I'm gonna like pivot away from this. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to Grandmaster.
I was just gonna say, when we watch Zoro and his fights, I think about Oh, what would Mihawk do? Would Mihawk be having this much trouble? What would Mihawk do differently? And that's all I was gonna say. That's because Zoro's our swordsman, and Mihawk is the end game. So it's like, what would Mihawk do? Would Mihawk be doing all this too? But yeah, that's it.
So yeah, and I think another thing that this arc does well is kind of they really hone in on like the character work that One Piece is known for. Like the only reason why they even got an understanding with the Don Krieg pirates at the end, like that they carried Don Krieg away, is because Sanji and Luffy were compassionate to them. They were understanding, and they were like, you've made us reconsider our values, and we have to go back to the drawing board. And then even with Don Krieg, who is relying so much on, he's basically like the One Piece Iron Man, and it doesn't work out for him, because he's like, if I have a bigger suit of armor, I can beat anybody. And then Luffy, who literally only has his bare fists, beats him just because he can. Just because he can.
Rubber's a tough material, man.
I mean, there were some. I mean, in the Luffy versus Don Krieg fight, there were some like moments where I questioned like Luffy's durability, and thinking about like how much something would hurt someone doing. The go-to example I always think of is when Luffy's about to punch Don Krieg, like he's able to close the gap in distance between them, and Don Krieg whips out this cloak with all these spikes on it. And he's like, oh, punch me now, rubber boy. And Luffy still punches him.
His fist missed the spikes.
No, it did not.
No, it did not.
No, it did not.
And
you're thinking of 4 kids. Oh, I missed this. I went between the gaps of the spikes. No.
But again, that's Oda being Oda and writing the rules of this world without you realizing it. Whoever has the stronger will is gonna win. Period.
Adrenaline is a hell of a drug. You probably didn't feel it.
Well, that's the other thing too. You talk about Luffy's durability, and yes, his willpower is definitely probably like stronger than anybody. But like Don Krieg and the poison darts, Luffy definitely got hit by a couple of darts.
They were suction cups in the
4 kids. They were suction cups.
Let that be
we have
media.
to reference it every time until 4 kids is done. We have to reference it.
It was really bad. It would be like, whoop. I'm gonna keep going.
Like what?
Dear God.
Oh man, but yeah, he's poisoned at this point. And I don't know. He beats the poison.
Right.
Is that willpower or is that plot armor?
No, that's willpower. Like I think
willpower. Yeah.
It is plot armor, but the way that Oda has written it into the story, that the willpower can overcome, and I think it's earned in a lot of places. Like here, like he's Oda shows that he's at a disadvantage because he can't punch the things without getting hurt. And Luffy says, I don't care. I'm going to keep going because I need to beat you.
Funny you say that. There's another dynamic going on in this arc. Gin takes Zeph hostage in this arc.
Yeah. And
because of that, it immobilizes Sanji to the point where that Pearl guy, I forgot his name was Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, him. Sanji was actually beating his ass like early on, but the whole hostage situation immobilized him. So now the Pearl guy is beating Sanji's ass. And Luffy, I remember Luffy was like, I think he kind of like held back at first, but then he's like, no, like we're just gonna sit here and let these guys kill us. No, like I'm not gonna do that. And Sanji's trying to be like, oh no, but I owe it to Chef that he saved me all those years ago. I have to let them do what they want to us because I don't want the chef to get hurt. I don't want the restaurant to get destroyed. And Luffy's like, nah, man. If you do you, if you want to do that, but I'm beating that guy's ass. I'm not stopping. And I think that spoke to Sanji It really did in this arc. What did you? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna. I was gonna add on to the Gin whole.
No, that's where I was. Yeah, going next. Yeah,
I was gonna say Gin is a worthy kind of side villain going on here. I think, in the previous arcs, Captain Kuro's little twins and Django. Who cares, right?
There was clear villains. There was no one being redeemed.
Yes. Jin has a redeemable quality to him, and just talking about how he even got here. Sanji fed him, and he was very thankful because all the chefs beat the crap out of Sanji for feeding him. Right, and then he still snuck a plate to him, and then he begged Don Krieg not to hurt them if Sanji feeds them.
That's right.
And it says a lot, as I think Nino, you were saying, as far as Don Krieg had instilled this fear, and they saw Luffy and Sanji's morals and values, and that's where we saw the change at the end of the arc. Jin, I don't know. I feel we're setting precedents here to where we're not just gonna have some of these these lackeys, these fall guys be just that. They're gonna have some depth to them.
They're not one note.
Yeah, they're not one note. They're not one note, right? Because Jin, talking about Pearl, he knocks out Pearl.
He does.
Because he's like, oh, I want to fight Sanji. I want to kill Sanji. I want to be the one. And then he can't bring himself to do it.
And Don Krieg kicks him off the crew in the middle of this fight. And that destroyed. I mean, Gin was upset. I like that about it, because it wasn't some generic like, oh, I realized the error of my ways, so I'm gonna join you guys. The restaurant crew members. I'm just gonna switch sides. No, Gin is a pirate at the end of the day, and he wants to be on this crew, but at the same time, he doesn't want to trample over his own morals. And when he finally stands up to Pearl and Don Krieg say, guys, what? For God's sake, they fed us. We came here after this guy kicked our ass, Mihawk, and these people fed us. Can we just leave them alone and just pillage the village like down the street, down the ocean? Like, we could do that. Let's just do that. Don Krieg's like, no, you're off. You're off.
No, this is an easy meal. I'm tired. He said, I'm tired of Mihawk chopping us up like onions. I need an easy meal. I don't want to go to the grocery store and make it myself. I want to go to McDonald's. That's what he said. The Baratie is just McDonald's on the sea.
Sure.
The McDonald's.
I think it's a little higher quality, but I mean,
you're right. It is the Burger King of the sea.
Sure, some can make that argument.
Have it your way, as they say.
But I want to tie it back to, in our previous cast, we were talking about how kind of everyone defines their own version of piracy. And here we have,
this is my ninja way.
Yeah, literally. That's,
oh my God,
that's literally it. But like, it's interesting to see that Jin, despite, recognizing Don Krieg's version of piracy really has no kind of morality involved in it. He still is loyal to Don Krieg, and but he's not going to forsake his morals. It's an interesting thing to see play out, or like how loyal you can be. Go ahead, take it.
Yeah, and sometimes Oda doesn't have the answers, which I think is a lot more interesting than like telling us, like overtly telling us. Like sometimes he just leaves it to where like you'll see them again someday, somehow. Like I do think that we are due to see Don Krieg and Jing again. Like I think we're due to see them.
I really want to see them. I know people don't care about them too much anymore because it's like, who cares? They were East Blue. they who cares? I want to see them.
What if all the East Blue folks just form their own little band. Like,
There's no way. There's no way. Arlong would never.
Listen.
Arlong. You know what?
who's
Oh my
Arlong?
God.
Who's
Who's
Arlong?
Arlong?
Oh, you're right. You're right. But what do you call it? For all my manga readers out there, there is a way that they can come back organically in the story, already in place. So I'm gonna let y'all figure it out.
I will sit on it and figure it out. I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's such an easy answer, but
Oh,
we're getting ahead of
okay.
it.
No, I know what it is. It's that
Yeah,
theory.
yeah,
It's that
and I
theory.
think
We're
What
not.
theory. Wait,
And
what do
I-
you mean? No, it's not a theory. It's an actual thing in the story. You know what? Getting ahead of ourselves.
I
The
think- I
Baratie,
think that-
it's a fish.
I think what I would want to see too, if we do see these characters again, I hope they like because we haven't had this yet, which is very surprising in One Piece, where they go back to like original places,
Oh,
like
yeah.
where they come from and stuff like that. It's very surprising that we have not had that yet, and it's just been nonstop adventure the entire time. Like no,
We don't
like
got time
let
to
me
go back.
yeah, let me
to
go
move
see
forward.
like the island again. Let me go back and see if like my dad's back at the island Usopp. Like like no one.
You know, Yasop's not going back. Like hell, he will.
like let's. I would want them to go, at least come here. I think it'd be cool for all the Straw Hats to like appear back here. I think it'd be pretty cool.
And
Back
they
here.
will, but as a quote from somebody later on in the story, they plan to go one way around the world. They're not going back until their job is finished. So
I
Fair.
agree. The
Yeah.
most we'll get is, I don't know, until the end. Like, I refuse to believe that by the end of the story, Oda does not like, give updates on how all these characters are doing. Because
A revisit. I want to revisit interaction, and that's only so we could see a lot of like. I think it's just a good. It's more of an update. It's like a back
find
to the
out-
emotions, like
Well-
back to the emotions that we felt during like this entire arc.
Don
like,
Krieg
I
is
would-
now a janitor on the
Well,
yeah, like
on the
I know.
restaurant.
I don't think it will be that extreme, but if you leave these characters alive, which he does,
all the
and
time.
we have seen them come back and play some pivotal point or some role in whatever arc it may be. It's fair game to think that they could come back, and it's funny how we're talking about this, and just these are the first arcs. Maybe he's intentionally holding them back for that big
there's
return.
and
Like, because the characters who getting again a little foreshadow, the characters who we have seen come back in pivotal points, I didn't think I was gonna see those characters, but
I agree.
it makes sense
Like,
that those characters came back. And pull down. Oh, let me stop.
who is down? You're going
Nothing.
to what?
Nothing.
I do want to see Don Krieg again. It's just more of like a personal thing. Like I like that there was a character in the story that doesn't really have any powers. His whole gimmick is well, I guess there's other characters with no powers, but still, like Don Krieg is just relying on like his tech, right? He just has all these cool
Boots
little-
armor.
Woot's armor, that's right. And and reading the story back then, I was wondering how is Luffy gonna break through that? That is heavy-handed armor to break through. Bam, bazooka, done. So I don't know, maybe he's gotta get a better armor or dip into some H word. We want I don't know. And I could see it. I could see it happening. Something like my battle with Luffy I realized, oh yeah, I can't be, using external devices like this. I need to look internally.
become my own
the armor.
armor.
Oh man. Oh, there we go.
I mean, I just thought about
we
this
go.
too. He breaks through the Woot's armor. What if this whole time you're leveling up your H word? when a certain character cuts through steel at one point, what if he's leveling up his H word?
Whoa, you're getting ahead of yourself.
I know,
Getting ahead
I
of
know.
yourself.
I'm just saying,
what's
but
an
it's
H word?
don't worry about it. The fact of the matter is this: if you broke through Woot's armor, you can now probably potentially break through something else, and you are hardening your fist.
It's probably
Run
there.
with it.
I
Run
see
with
it.
Run with it.
I see it.
No
telling
way
you.
that happened this early. But I'll give you.
You don't think he's that much of a genius?
Ooh.
You don't think he's that much of
Do
a genius?
you?
Are we talking about Luffy or Don Krieg?
Luffy. No, I'm not talking about Don Krieg. No, I'm talking. We already seen the
Oh.
full body dude with. We're getting ahead.
There's no way that what do you call it?
Oda.
That Luffy developed or Oda put Luffy in a position for H word this early. No way. No way.
All right, that's okay. It's okay.
That's
we don't
what
have to
we
get into
say
it.
now.
It's okay.
We
It's
always
okay.
say it
But
until
you're
Oda
right.
says, remember in
And
chapter 20?
Right. If we ever come back
Remember
and
in
be like,
chapter 1?
look what they did in Baratie arc. Look what they did here. Baratie. Great arc. Great arc. Like set up. So good.
I agree. I don't know. We'll maybe see him at some point. But
I'm surprised we haven't talked about like the Baratie, like the ship
the
itself,
concept.
like the ship, like
It's a floating
that-
restaurant. It's a
but-
restaurant on the seas.
but the design, like it's like 3 floors and like
It is a neat design. I do like it.
It's pretty
There's-
extravagant. Yeah.
yeah, and there's like I don't know if I'm like maybe remembering this wrong, but I'm pretty sure there was a door there that was like really questionable looking. Did it not look like Sanji's face or something, or just there was like
a
a
door
on
like in the
ship.
restaurant?
Like at the restaurant, yeah, it was like one of the doors, like like the design of it. But you see your background, Dr. J's,
Yeah.
and like the fish. One of the doors looked very similar to that fish. I don't know if y'all like remember, like I
got the volumes right here. I can dig for like a minute.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a very little snippet, but if y'all don't know it, then I'm not going to dive into it. But yeah,
I'll dig afterwards to look.
they do an interpretation of Sanji that I don't understand so well. Like the entire ship is like a dramatic, like interpretation of everything, but
Right.
it's just that, yeah.
Okay, I mean the restaurant is I like it. I like the restaurant.
And they and that's why what's his name? That's why Don wanted it, the restaurant, because of the ship,
Sanji's door, the Sanji door.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about now?
Oh no, I don't. I'm saying, is that why
no,
Concrete
not the
wanted it?
Sanji
Because he saw the
he wanted
Sanji
it
door. I was like,
because
yo,
of-
I want it.
No, because of the design, because of the entire design of the
Well,
ship.
they also militarized it too. It has actual.
But it's because it's a pirate ship.
It is
Oh,
a pirate
yes.
ship. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
still a
yeah.
pirate ship.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
cool
but-
thing about it. It's not just a ship, full of like chefs that can't fight.
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
a
whole-
full of chefs that can't fight.
Yeah,
literally.
they're prior like crooks or
They're all
pirates?
Zeph
Yeah.
pirates, right? That's Zeph's crew. No.
They're not
Yeah.
all no, they're not all
No,
Zeph pirates.
no.
Oh,
Zeph
no?
lost his
All of Zeph's crew-
shipmates in the
Oh.
flashback.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
realize
Right,
he
yeah.
left.
But they're all like crooks,
kicked them in.
thieves.
Yes,
Yeah.
he
And
he
it's just
gave
funny
them a
because they
life
beat
the
up on
ship.
they beat up all their customers. If they don't like them, they're like, shut up. And then they beat up on each other. It's just
or when they don't
it's
pay.
very funny.
I remember they did that. Yeah, in the beginning, like there was someone that said, oh no, it was someone that said, there's a fly in my soup.
It was
No.
Yes,
he was a Navy dude, full body.
Navy captain. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
And
that's
yeah,
right.
he was Sanji was, flirting, giving eyes to his girl, and he was getting mad. So right. He said there was a fly, then Sanji smashes his face. And they're like, Sanji, what are you doing? You can't do that.
I never put a fly in someone's soup. That's the Brooklyn
Oh,
accent.
ew.
That's
Why?
you know what's funny?
Why?
No, you know what's funny? We make fun of that, but let me tell you something. Because that was my first exposure to One Piece, And I associate the voice, that style voice, to Sanji whenever I'm reading the manga. That's the voice I'm hearing
I'm
when
not
I'm
gonna
reading
lie.
Joey
Sanji's
Wheelered him for
dialogue.
you.
That voice comes
They-
out for me too. It does.
They Joey Wheelered
sometimes.
him for y'all.
They
Yes.
did. That's a great
Yes.
way to put it. Joey Wheelered him.
Lollipop and all.
Because
I
it's hard
love
for
it.
me to give him, his Funimation voice is Eric Vale, who's Future
Eric feels
Trunks.
good, right?
Future Trunks. So
Mhm.
it's hard for me to do it. So it's either Lollipop Sanji voice or it's the Japanese voice, which is perfectly
The
good.
Japanese voice to me is just so much more iconic because like he really just hams it up and mispronounces everything when he's like swooning.
Sanji?
I don't want to do it. Yeah, Sanji.
No, go ahead, do it. I did my Brooklyn one.
Okay, well they go like Nami Swan. And then,
Yeah.
Moving chat.
That's no, I understand. It obviously the Japanese one's more iconic. It's just when I read it in English. But we have
wait,
this.
you read it in Japanese? You say when you read it in English. Do you read it in Japanese?
No. I said the Japanese one's more iconic, but when I'm reading it, I associate it with the English Brooklyn voice.
No, you said when I read it in English. You're
Well, that's
hiding
what I
your
meant.
Japanese.
That's what
talent.
I meant to say.
That's no,
Yes,
you
I'm
can't take it back
fluent.
now.
You're right. I'm
Oh
fluent.
my God, you've been lying to all of us.
I
How could
have.
you?
Who watches subtitles? I don't watch it with subtitles. Anyways, we get this awesome fight with Don Krieg, Luffy. Everything calms down. One thing I liked how Oda changes things up a bit. Sanji doesn't join the crew right away. He doesn't want to. And we have all these other we have Usopp, Zoro, Nami. At the end of the arc, it's almost kind of like an established formula that regardless of their disagreements throughout the arc, whoever Luffy is interested in having joined the crew, by the end of the arc, they come on with open arms. They're like, oh, hell yeah, you proved yourself to me. I want to join the pirate crew for the future king of the pirates. Sign me up. I think this
Except
is
Nami.
Well, except Nami. Yeah, Nami's a special thing. She's like, yeah, we'll form a temporary alliance for now. And then that plays a role later. But I mean, Sanji was the first one where he's like, nah, man. I mean, I know you need a cook on your ship. You guys can't make any type of food. You guys let food expire, but I'm here to stay. I owe this debt to Chef Zeph. And this is probably one of the more tearful farewells in the story, honestly, at least for me. Because what happens? The Sanji makes like a meal for the crewmates, right? And they say it's terrible.
Oh, they say it's terrible. Oh my gosh, you're right.
You can't stay here. Leave. Yeah, Chef Zev coming in on it too. And it's like, I remember Sanji like, what are you guys talking about? I stake my life on that soup. I loved it. I love how
that's like next. That's up there. Oh man. Yes. Oh my gosh.
They recognize that it's time for Sanji to move on and chase the dream that he's wanted since he was a child. And
they trust him with Luffy.
Yes.
Right. It's like, this is a good guy to go with. Chore boy.
Oh and yeah, Luffy was the chore boy because he couldn't pay for the food.
Yeah, he was technically staff. Like he was a part of Zeph's staff at one point.
That's right.
Well, he broke through the roof because I think he was on a cannonball, or he did a gum rocket,
and he had to pay.
Man,
that was the way he paid for it.
After this pod, I'm about to blow y'all's minds with this theory that I got, but yeah, this whole thing with Zeph and then Sanji saying goodbye is so tearful. It's so interesting because like I think this is the first time we ever see a good father figure in One Piece. I think it's the only time. Actually, no, I take that back. Oops, spoilers. But this is one of the only times that we see a good father figure in One Piece.
Yasop's
So-
a good father figure.
Shanks is a good father figure.
Y'all are so funny.
Dragon? Oh,
We don't know what's going on with Shanks, but to Luffy, he's pretty decent.
He's
Yeah, he just
solid,
never saw him for like
I think you're a
a
worse
couple
father
years.
figure when
Sent
you're a
him on a
father
life
figure to
of
someone else's child
piracy.
and not,
yeah.
you know.
We're getting.
I'm not gonna go nowhere past that, but I would just say when you already got your own problems and you're a good person, good father figure to somebody else's kid, ill.
Ew. Shameless.
But Zeph, who has no children, is a pretty darn good example of a father figure to Sanji.
You could
So-
say he's kind of like a. Oh man, I hate this whole. We can't reference future characters, but there's another pirate crew later on where he views himself as a father figure to his shipmates.
we can
very-
foreshadow this. Yes.
A very blatant one. I feel like
Mhm.
maybe Chef Zeph is like the template, the prototype for what Oda was gonna do later on with that character.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You could say that. You could definitely say that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shoot, there's
Yeah.
even another character who, talk about fatherhood. What about motherhood? You know?
Ooh.
Ooh, you know what I'm talking about?
Let's not go there.
Very.
Cake, wedding cake.
God.
Just throwing that out there.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll
Nothing but
get there.
jumping. No, we've tried to not jump so far ahead so many times.
But it,
But
you know,
it's really-
it
It's
Oh, go
hard
ahead.
because of the foreshadowing. Like it's hard because of the foreshadowing that happens.
I think it's great that you can do something like that though. Both from just in terms of how it's relating to the story and how Oda develops as a writer. You see him trying things out in this arc and you're like, wow, this really blows up later on when he makes the father figure pirates, right?
And-
It's kind of hard
you know-
to say. Oh, go.
No, but it's really interesting because when you compare it to like the other big three, like things are very self-contained in each arc. Things aren't consequential. Like I'm thinking about Naruto. Like once the Land of Waves happened, that's it. You never heard
Mhm.
about the Land of Waves ever again.
You are absolutely right.
The only thing
Alright.
that you get is Naruto's Nindo, and everything after that is never referenced. Like they never. The only time that I think that it can reference is when the mangaka pulls like Gaara out of his ass in the Sasuke retrieval arc. That's the only time where it becomes like relevant. But in One Piece, things that you read over and that are like just character moments or things that are like you took at face value and then they show back up like hundreds of chapters later, you're like, this man's a genius. Wow.
No, you really do. I mean, in terms of the East Blue arcs up until this point, to me, this was my favorite. Up until this point, there's another arc after this, but
I was gonna say, like, I don't even think he was trying new things. It almost seems like, as looking back at everything, it almost seems as if this story was like the entire thing was written like a very, very long time ago. Like he is just trying to play catch up with the panels and drawing them. But I think the entire it would, I guess, because I'm just assuming that he knew what was happening today when he created the Baratie arc as well. Like it just, from how consistent he's been, it's not like anything's been retconned even from back then. I would think like there's been no major changes in Sanji's character. Like we even see Chef Zeph again, but being described completely accurate. Like it's almost as like usually when we see animes and stuff, we know they are retconning it. We know for a fact they are not keeping up with episode 1 and keeping the same thing. This is the only time I would say like this is probably one of the few I would say if there are any slip ups, it's probably like one or two, But this one, I will say, even since here, it's been exactly consistent the entire time.
You know, you mentioned that. I need to find the interview where he said it. But I remember reading like years ago, it was an interview with Oda. He said something along the lines of, because people asked him, how far of the story did you originally plan out? Like, how long did you think One Piece was gonna last? And
he did.
Yes,
he did.
Right?
And then he actually said which was his favorite one. Like he's like, oh, I can't wait until manga chapter. It was the most recent one of the most recent ones, 1,000 and something. It was when we got, the most recent thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
When that happened.
But it's like that just happened.
It's like, you know, it's funny how a success of a manga with how well it does early on can change its trajectory in some way. Because Oda, from what I remember, Oda did not. No manga really plans like for their manga to be like 1,000 chapters, you know, later or whatever. Like he likely has a destination of where he knows he wants it to end. But in terms of what the journey is to that point, he's like, well, I mean, let's see what the sales numbers do. Because if One Piece sells like ass, I'm gonna have to wrap things up pretty quickly. I want at least to get the key points done.
It's hard to say that though, because even with this arc, it's us talking about it's kind of a short. Like you could sum this story up and fill everything in with a team of people, you know, like the creative director, all this other stuff that like gives it concepts, and like Sanji's like attack names and everything else. Like, you know, you can have all that, and then as far as like coming up with the entire thing, like the way this is paced out pretty well, and you know, they don't like spend too much, like no pen or no chapter is too long, you know, like we've never gotten like a really long one, or like the story there's been like no Hunter type of explanation in 3 panels. Like, you know, we don't get any of that with One Piece. So I think it's actually, I think every detail in this from 1 to the end has probably been calculated. It's probably been already thought out, because I just don't see any of it being other way. Like, how can you have been so consistent and kept up with the story since now? Like, it's like, dang, like I can't find a single plot hole that's like, oh yeah, Son, you know, like we only get the 4 kids in the manga interpretation, but that's about it. Like there's still no big changes. Like, you know, he ate, like it's just the same things happen. Like
well, yeah, because I mean, going off of that, every arc up until now so far, Luffy has recruited someone onto his team for the most part. And you can tell it's something where Oda's like, I know I want to get up to this point with the story. Like, there has to be these many people on Luffy's crew. So I cannot waste time in these early arcs, like going to, and no, not shooting it down, but I can't waste time going to an island in the sky. I can't waste time going to a Halloween themed island. You know, not saying those are we'll get to them when we get to them, but you could tell early on, Oda's like, listen, next arc, we're recruiting the cook. Next arc, we're recruiting the navigator. Next one, brave warrior. Next, like, he is getting things done, and that's building the popularity of One Piece. And then it's at a certain point when he realizes, I don't think this story's ending anytime soon. You know what? Let's do that Halloween Island. I've been wanting to do that for a while.
And I was gonna say, I think just, you know, there are points in when he's writing where he's like, yes, he has goals that he wants to check off, and then he's like, you know, he's an entertainer. You know, he's writing this for his own entertainment, knowing we'll like it. But there comes a point where he's like, I gotta switch up the formula. I just can't keep adding a crew member every single arc. You know, it's like,
but remember, there was already a set number. Remember, we actually
you're right.
In the beginning, I want 10 members.
Exactly, but but that's what I'm saying though. It's like it can't just be I reached the number that I want and then we do these things. We got to see how this crew grows together. Then we add on more members, and then we see how they grow. and so forth, you know, and then
Right.
maybe
It just feels too perfect. It just feels too.
it's
Well,
really
because-
perfect, and I'm not gonna question it.
No, and that's the good thing about it, because you know, like once he gets to, I don't know, like let's say he got to like crew member like 6 or 7, by that point he probably realized One Piece is here for the long run. I can stretch this out, so that 10th member thing, maybe he had that planned like to happen way earlier on before
Oh.
he knew One Piece was
He
what
had
was not
that
going to
plan.
end. He definitely did.
Definitely.
He
I think
had
here,
that
I think
plan.
here, I think Luffy mentioned it to everybody how many people he wanted on his crew. I think
He did. He's I
Luffy-
want 10. I want 10.
Yeah.
members.
And
Dialogue
Sanji,
is
I
key.
think everybody asked him. I think Sanji's one of the people that asked him to was like, how many people are you trying to have on the crew? Like what's it gonna be like? Like who else are we looking for? And he gave him an actual number. I want 10.
Chapter 1, I'll always remember this because I was like, there's no way Oda brought this up again, but you know, later we'll talk about it later. But he said, chapter 1, Luffy is about to sail off on his dinghy. He's talking to himself, and he's like, yeah, I want 10 members, and I want this one. I think I want a musician too. We'll see what happens. And what do you know? We'll get to it.
Right,
We'll
right.
get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say that wraps up Baratie. Baratie. Say it however you want. But any final thoughts on Baratie? Just like, I guess, how would you rank it so far in the East Blue saga?
Oh, it's number 1 by far.
So far.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, so far.
So far.
So far.
So far. Yeah.
So far.
So far.
There is an
Yeah.
arc,
There's
obviously,
not much
afterwards.
2 more arcs, no, in East Blue.
I guess
Yeah,
there's one, but it's like it's kind of like the palette cleanser before
Yes,
the next moving saga.
It's a setup arc, yeah. Right.
Right.
It's probably my favorite.
Right.
Yeah.
So hey, we'll talk about it next week. I mean, it's Arlong. It's Arlong. We'll talk about
Park.
Arlong Park. It's the one we all, at least for me, when I recommend One Piece to anyone, I say
Get to Arlong Park.
Get
Yep.
to Arlong Park. If you don't like it from there, okay. All right, drop it. You're missing out. You're missing out.
I feel like there's another arc that I for me personally that really made
After
me-
that or before it?
Oh no, definitely after that.
Oh, see,
yeah.
See,
I
I
just
give them the
know-
lowest amount needed to get hooked
Yes. Because,
I guess-
length is a scary thing for people. So I'm like, all right, you can get to here. That's not too deep into it. And if
in. Even though it's pretty deep, it's like 80 chapters or something.
I feel like
Right.
you could explain to someone in 30 minutes everything up to like CP9. I think you could do that and be like
In 30 minutes?
I think for where we are right now,
We
they-
spent an hour talking
wait,
about a restaurant
wait,
in the
no, wait.
ocean.
Wait, pause, because you got to remember everything. Like every point that we get, like every time we go to an arc, they do a good amount of flashbacks, and they very much repeat who is who, what is what, and why they're here, and what are we doing. Like if you actually watch, you will pick it up. Like I have someone that has not watched anything. I'll say probably like pre-Punk Hazard, because I just pretty much updated him on everything. He gets it. He gets it.
I
It's
guess
he gets it. There's just a lot of this fun stuff he missed. He doesn't because he'll watch like little clips on YouTube and say, "Oh my god, like I feel it. I kind of want to watch the old stuff, but it's just so much. I don't know. I'm caught up. Like you can be caught up."
Yeah, I guess if you want to give a bastardized version of this arc right now, you could say they go to a restaurant ship, they recruit a chef that can kick. Next,
And then Zoro meets someone that sets the standard, and
Done.
then that's you can take it from there.
that's all you need. I guess in that sense, yes, you could. You're missing out a lot, but it's the core point is there, I guess.
I'm gonna cry. Watch from episode 1, and you'll.
It
I
takes
cried
time.
enough.
It takes time. But I would say that wraps up our thoughts on Baratie arc, recruitment of Sanji. As you can see, folks, this is why we devoted an entire episode to this one arc. There's a lot to talk about. Moving plot threads, introduction of new factions in the world, lore expansion. There's a lot of moving pieces. And next week, we're covering Arlong. And there's a lot to go in with Arlong. And as we alluded to earlier, we always say, or at least most of us do, get to Arlong. But we'll talk about Arlong next week. But if you guys enjoyed this episode of our deep dive on Baratie, or our pronunciation of the restaurant, however you would like it, let us know your thoughts on all social media platforms. We're on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok at the Yonkō Table. Give us a like, give us a shout out. Let us know what your favorite moment was in this arc. And let us know what you think of Sanji, his introduction, his filet mignon kicks and tricks that he does, and his obsession with the ladies. We didn't mention his obsession with the ladies, but I feel like it goes into more detail like as time goes on. Yeah,
they don't really get into it now.
Yeah, we're okay.
Right. I know we mentioned Nami Swan and Robin Schwan already, so we touched it. But yeah,
Who's Robin?
Who's Robin? The bird? You guys see birds in this series?
Or from Batman? Cool.
Oh my god. Goodness gracious. But that's all we have for this week, folks. I'm your Yonkō host, DrJaceAttorney. Fellow Yonkō GrandMasterHoop and Supernovas Nino and Kame Chris signing off, folks, and take care.